everybody, whoever you are, wherever you are, thank you so much for clicking on this video. So in this video we're going to be going through the lesson called as resources. You will be pretty much thorough about what is resources. Now let me just tell you a main thing, like what is resources, what is this lesson based on. So resources is nothing but whatever we use in our daily life. So for example, if you're just cooking some spinach is not spinach, I mean, come on, if anything that has been found is called as a resource. Anything, like any normal substance, even anything, like even the gas we use, the water we drink, the bed we sleep on, everything, like everything we use, everything we have and use for is called as a resource. So now let's just go through a story which including Mona, Raju and Amma, whose Amma is called as a mother in Indian language. So now let's just go through the lesson. So I'm just gonna read it, okay? So yeah, and the background is purple. How do you guys think it is? Comment down below. So Mona and Raju were helping Amma to clean their house. He's telling, look at all these things: clothes, utensils, food grains, combs, and bottle of honey, books, etc. Each of these has a use, said Mona. Mona said, everything that, like all the clothes, utensils, has a use. That's why they are important, said Amma. These resources, what are resources? I mean, her mother told that these are resources. Now, what are resources? Raju asked to Amma. And anything that can be used to satisfy a need of a human is called as a resource. Not only a human, like I'm telling everything, okay? So, replied Amma. Look around you and observe. You will be able to identify many types of resources. For example, like the water you drink when you're thirsty, and the electricity you use in your house, the rickshaw you use to get from school, and your father has prepared a tasty snack for you. The fresh vegetables has used like he has used the fresh vegetables to cook, right? So that is also a resource. So water, electricity, rickshaw, vegetable, and textbook have something in common. What do you guys think it is? They have all been used have something in common. They have all been used by you. So the utility or utility meaning is when we use a thing, that is called as a utility. So yeah, utility or usability is what makes an object or a substance a resource. If the whatever we use, if you use a towel after your bath, you could just wipe your body. So that is a use that we use. So that is also a resource. Like it's based on what you are, how you use the resource. So how does something become a resource? Raju now wanted to know. He was getting so much curious. Now Amma told the children that things become resources only when they have a value. Its use or utility gives it a value. So, and all resources have some value, some kind of value that we have. So said Amma, value means worth, the worth of the product or worth of the anything, okay? So some resources have economic value and some do not. For examples, metal may have an economic value. For example, a beautiful landscape may not be, but it may not be, it is definitely important, but it may not be that useful to satisfy human needs. So some resources can be economically valuable with time. For example, your grandmother's home remedies have no commercial value today, but if they are made and sold by a medical firm tomorrow, they could economically be valuable. I think you guys can understand. So if your grandma's home remedies for cough or cold, like for example, and for now it's not that popular, or it's like not recognizable, but tomorrow, I'm just saying, if another medical firm, medical company has done the same remedy, and that may become economically valuable, which is they gain money from it, or which is economically worth, that is worth some value, okay? So now time and technology are two factors that can change the substance into a resource. Yeah, we need time and we need the people's technology to grow, right? And that makes a normal, if example water can be anything in the future. They can make it a resource. We can't say anything. So both are related to the needs of the people. People themselves are the most important resource. Yes, of course. It is their ideas, knowledge, inventions, and discoveries that lead to the creation of more resources. Each discovery of the invention leads to many others. The discovery of the fire led to the practice of cooking and other processes, while the invention of wheel ultimately resulted in the development of newer modes of transport. Yes, no. So when they suddenly it was not a very wanted thing. It just became suddenly, and that became an invention. So that is a resource. A fire is a resource, and they, with that fire, they started cooking. And then they have with the invention of wheel, they started newer vehicles like bullock carts or stuff like that. So the technology to create the hydroelectricity has turned the energy in fast flowing water into an important resource. As I told, right, water can be anything tomorrow. So they have already found this. They say water produces electricity. So it's hydroelectricity. So the technology of hydroelectricity has turned into an energy in fast flowing water. The pressure of water creates electricity. So that is called as hydroelectricity. Now let's see what are the types of resource. So hey, see, this is a cool one. The daughter is telling to the mother, so I am a resource too. Her mother is telling a very valuable one. Okay, that's a pretty cool one. Now let's get into the lesson, you guys. So now let's see what are the types of resource. Resources are generally classified into human made. We make some resources, right? Human and natural resources that the nature has given us, and man made, I mean, and human resources, whatever humans are. Okay, so let's just go through one everything of them, and this is pretty much the whole lesson. We're going to be seeing some examples and stuff like that. So let's just go and see what is the natural resources. So the resources that are drawn from nature and are used with much modification and aren't used with much modification are called as natural resources. For example, leaves or anything, fruits, vegetables which nature gives us. They can, fruits, we just cut it, we just wash it, and we just wash it, cut it, and eat it. There is not much modification. We don't need to change anything in that's what it means. That there doesn't, without much modification, is called as natural resources which nature gives us, right? So there is no need to change the fruit or vegetable or something. It's like much modification. We just cook them in the vegetables or stuff like that. So the air we breathe and the water in our rivers, lakes, and soil are minerals of our natural resources. Many of these resources are free gifts from the nature. So true, and can be used directly. In some cases, tools and technology may be needed to use a natural resource in the best possible way. So let's see. Natural resources can be broadly classified into renewable and non-renewable. So under natural resources, we are putting two more lines and converting them into renewable and non-renewable resources. Do you guys know what is renewable resource and non-renewable resources? So as we saw, resources are something to satisfy our humans need. So it's like renewable resources are, even we use them so much, they won't go off. And non-renewable, so let's just see in the textbook, you guys. So renewable resources are those which get renewed, replenished quickly. So for example, air, water that we drink, for now they are, even though we use a lot of it, they won't get destroyed or whatever. Some of these ultimate are not affected by human activity. Some of them are not affected by human activity. Even though we use a lot of it, we have a lot of it, even the sun and stuff like that. So yeah, so you may ask, it may go, right? Yes, it may go, but for now it is a renewable resources. So such as solar and wind energy. The solar and sun, of course. And then yet carelessly we use certain renewable resources like water, soil, and forest can affect their stock. Yeah, Water seems to be an unlimited renewable resource for now, but the shortage and drying up of natural water sources is a major problem in many parts of the whole world today. Yes, we have like water scarce or stuff like that, right? So make sure you save water even though there is a lot. Do not take advantage of it. When there is not a lot of water, we'll know the importance of it. So this is also a fact. Do not waste water. So now let's see what is non-renewable resources. Now as I guys told, it's like the complete opposite of renewable resources. So non-renewable resources are those which have a limited stock, which are will get very, if you are using like a lot and lot without saving it, it gets extinct and may not come for thousands and hundreds of years. So let's see, non-renewable resources are which have a limited stocks. Once the stocks are exhausted, it may take thousands of years to be renewed or replenished. Since this period is more than human lifespans, such as resources considered non-renewable, coal, petroleum, and natural gas are some of the examples. Coal, they are, the when animals die, that, yeah, just don't, just leave that point, okay? So coal, petroleum, and stuff like that, you'll actually read that in a lesson called as coal and petroleum, that will come soon for you. And yeah, and natural gas are some examples. The distribution of natural resources depends upon the number of physical activities like terrain, climate, altitude. So terrain is nothing much, you guys, just that, and climate is whatever, climate, that, and altitude is the height of the mountain or something like that, is the height. Okay, so the distribution of resources is unequal because of these factors differ so much over the earth. Yes, of course, the altitude of this place cannot be the same as whatever place you're thinking. So now let's see what are human made resources. We should not get confused in this. So let's see what are human made resources. So sometimes natural substances become resources only when their original form has been changed. Iron ore was not a resource until people learned to extract iron from it. People use natural resources to make buildings, bridges, roads, machinery, and vehicles, which are also known as human-made resources. Technology is also a human-made resource. Okay. Now let's just go a bit deep. Let me explain you. So human made resources is nothing much. So making humans ability a bit more good, and they make some resource of a normal thing. So and then a lot, when iron ore was not very important, or what, not very recognizable metal, but when people used to extract the iron from it, it became a resource. So it's a kind of an example. So now let's see, it's in the bracket. So people like us use natural resources to make human made resources, said Mona, nodding her head in understanding. Yes, said Raju. Now let's see what are human resources. We saw what is natural resources, we saw what is human made resources. Now let's see what is human resources. So people can make the best use of the nature to create more than what they can, or when they have the knowledge and skill to do it. So the to do whatever they can. The human beings are special resources, that humans are special resources, people are human resources. Education and help in making the people a valuable resource. Improving the quality of people's skills so that they are able to create more resources is known as human resources. So it's nothing much, you guys. If a normal person like you and me would want to be if you want to create something, we have to improve our skill. You would go to some classes or stuff like that, and then you create something. That is also a resource. Like improving a particular human skill is pretty much what it is. What is human resources. Now let's see what is like the animation telling. So kind of, let's just, yeah, so crops ruined due to the drought, can I find a solution, she's thinking. And that's it, she's like, yeah, that's it. And it's all thanks to the knowledge and education skill we could find a solution. So she's thinking what we can do. So yeah, she's just finding out, like a normal person is getting some education and technology. Of course, the time technology is important to make a normal thing into a resource. I hope you guys understood. Now let's see. So yeah, in making a valuable resource, improving the quality of people's skills so that they are able to create, they are more able to create more resources, which is known as human resource development. Remember this, you can get this in MCQs and stuff like that. So now let's see what is the conserving resources. So Mona had a nightmare. She dreamt all day the water on the earth had dried up and all the trees were cut down. There was no shade and nothing to eat or drink. People were suffering and roaming around desperately looking for food and shade. This may happen one day, you guys, but we have to be really cautious. And Mona had a nightmare. Okay, she was curiously thinking about it. I want you guys to be curious and learn this lesson and master this lesson, all right? So yeah, she was just thinking that there was no food, there was no shade as all trees were cut down, and there was no food because the earth is dried up. There is nothing, only sun. Oh, just like that, yeah. So she told her mother about her dream, her nightmare. Amma, I can this really happen? She asked. Yes, Amma replied. If you are not careful, then the renewable resources can be very scarce and they can be non renewable resources, they can become extinct. Okay, so what can we do about it? Raju asks. Lots, replied Amma. She's telling that we can do a lot of stuff. Now let's see what are those, okay? So using resources carefully and giving them the time to get renewed back is called as the resource conservation. Resources, using resources carefully and giving them the time to get back. If example coal is like not a very we have very limited amount of coal, we have to wait for the coal to get to a good amount and start using it again. So that is called as the reserve conservation. We are conserving the resource, which is called as a reserve conservation. Now let's see, balancing of the future is called as a sustainable development. Balancing the need to a resource and also conserve them for the future is called as a sustainable development. That is completely true, but yeah, that is a really good idea though. So now let's see, what is a sustainable development? Tell me, you guys. So balancing the need to use the resource, also conserve them for the future is called as the sustainable development. There are many ways to conserve the resources, you guys. So each person can contribute by reducing the consumption. Like I challenge you guys, make sure reduce the consumption, like recycle, reuse the thing. So yeah, ultimately it makes a difference because in our lives are linked. Yes, of course. So yeah, the story is continuing. That evening, the children and their friends made pockets and packets, okay, and shopping bags out of old newspapers. That's a very good idea. Okay, discard clothes baskets from bamboo sticks. We will give a few very family we known, said Mona. After it is all for a good cause, said Mustafa, I mean his friends, okay, to save our resources and to keep our earth alive. So I'm going to be very careful and not to waste the paper, said Jessie. Many trees are cut down due to making of paper, she explained. So Jessie was telling that I will see the electricity is not wasted in my house, shouted Mustafa. Electricity comes from the water and coal. So everybody, I mean all his friends are telling that I'm going to do this, I'm going to make the cost of electricity lower, and yeah, they're just telling whatever they're going to reduce the cost of. So now let's see what. And another person is telling, I will make sure that water is not wasted at home, said Asha. Every drop of water is precious. Together we can make a difference. Come on, you guys, chorused the children. Yeah, they were like, yes, come on, you guys, we can do this. Okay, so these are some of the things Mona and Raju and their friends did. What about you guys? How are you guys going to help in the conservation of resources? So comment down below, you guys. What are you going to do? What are you going to save? Like all their friends said, like Mona's and Raju's friends said. Comment down below what you're going to conserve. So yeah, the future of our planets and its peoples are linked with our ability and to maintain and preserve the life support of the system the nature provides. Therefore, it is our duty to ensure that all uses of renewable resources are sustainable, all diversity of earth is conserved, all the damage to the natural environment system is minimized. Okay, so we should not damage the environmental system, and the diversity of life on earth should be conserved. All the uses of the renewable resources should be sustainable. Let's take the R and let's make them to should. Yes, you guys, so that's pretty much this lesson, so yeah, there are some questions like this. We'll do that, a bit later. Take some rest, just chill down. So you guys did a very, 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 very good job in learning the lesson. So yeah, yes, you guys, we went all the way through the down. Just take some rest, and then we'll do the exercise. Comment down below if you want the exercise of this lesson. So first, like now I will be making the videos of history lesson 1, civics lesson 1, and geography lesson 1. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys understand this lesson. So this is pretty much it, guys. So let me just tell you a small table that you just hear. No need to write or stuff like that, just hear, you guys. That's more than enough. Let me just tell you the table. So this is not there in the book, but I'm just telling you guys, listen on this. So first, the types of resources. There are natural resources, human resources, and the human made resources. Now there is based on the origin that they are, and they're based on the utility they use, and they're based on the development and based on the distribution. Now in based of the origin, we have biotic and abiotic, and their examples are plants, animals, and kingdom. Okay, and based on their utility, we have renewable and non-renewable. For example, solar system, which is our sun and water and wind. And non-renewable resources, we have the coal, petroleum, fossils, fuels, minerals, and stuff like that. So and based on the level of development, we have potential and actual. This is not there in the textbook, that bench, but this is very needed to learn, you guys. So potential and actual. For this, potential means which can be here, but we don't know. Okay, so yeah, for example, for potential resources is solar and tidal energy. For actual resources, it's fuel, wind, energy, and stuff like that. So now let's see what based on the distribution, local and ubiquitous. So this is nothing much. Localized means we know how much it is, and we don't know how much it is there. And yeah, and ubiquitous means it's universal resource. We know how much it is. We know the quantity of how much it is. And the new one which is found is the ultra plant or something like that. You could go deep into watching some YouTube videos. So that's pretty much all the resources that I know, and I'm telling that this pretty much will come for your exam. The last part, listen to that again and again till you get that, or you could even write it down. But listening is more than enough, you guys. So yeah, you could go a lot more deep in by searching in Google or seeing some YouTube videos. So yeah, that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you like it. You were very good, and comment down below if you have seen the video till the end. I'll give you a shout out in the next video, and if you comment down below done. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.